Welcome to
The Neapolitan.
Scoop Podcast.
My name is Steph.
My name is Shay.
and my name is Rose. Thank you for tuning in to the Neapolitan Scoop Podcast, where you get your weekly scoop. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe right now. Before we jump in, a quick note on our content. It is created for adults. We do advise listener and viewer discretion for depictions of violence, sexuality, mental illness, existential struggles, and some downright filthy language. It might be a lot to take in, so if you need to take a breather, take your time and come back. Today's topic is interracial marriage. According to Pew Research Center, analysis of census data conducted in 2013, 12% of newlyweds married someone of a different race. A 2008 study by Jennifer Bratter examined whether crossing racial boundaries in the United States increased the risk of divorce. Comparisons across these marriages revealed that overall interracial couples have higher rates of divorce, particularly for those married during the 1980s, in the 80s. So with that being said, I'm going to send it over to Shay for some questions.
That was some really good information because I didn't know that as far as like dating in the interracial marriages that they end in a higher divorce rate. That's a lot of statistics around divorce and
particularly
like
in the
that.
80s. Why do you think the 80s though? Like what happened in the 80s?
Maybe women's got their rights.
In the 80s? No. Maybe. Is that
Something
when Roe
happened.
versus Wade happened? Let me see.
Well, I think what is it? Slaves didn't get their freedom until like the 1960s? I can't remember the exact date. So it wasn't too far from the 1980s. So
Yeah.
I don't think people were mentally like mature to handle something like that. But that's interesting. Maybe look into that.
It is.
All right. So, let's see. So, what's the issue with dating outside of your race? What do you think the big issue is revolved around that?
I think upbringings. I don't think there is an issue overall, but I think when you talk about upbringings, religion, cultural differences, maybe that might be part of, where if people aren't meeting somewhere in the middle, maybe that's where that might happen.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that, especially on the upbringings part and just even the past, because like I dated a white dude at one point in time in my life, and I think I probably had the hardest time adjusting to it just because of how I was brought up. I went to all black schools all my life. I rarely had interactions with white people. So it was like when this dude decides to come to me and pursue me and like fuck me, I was like caught off guard for that. Like, you sure you're the right person? But people like what they like. And he actually just likes black women. And I don't know, I ain't got nothing to do with that whole slave master stuff. This is a whole different generation. So I don't want to say it's all because he just want to fuck a black girl. Like, I think the man is like black women. And but in that relationship, it was really hard for me because I never experienced dating somebody outside my race. So even being around his family was hard. Being around his friends was hard because it was just completely different. Mom's house didn't look like my mom's house. Her dog didn't look like my mom's dog. Like they got boats, they got beach houses. Yeah. So it was really hard. So I think that's probably the issue when people not wanting to date, especially white people, because of the past. You know, like, oh, it's a racist time, so why you want to date somebody that's white? I'm not going to judge him for what his great grandfather did.
His great grandfather. It wasn't too far off though, so it might have been maybe like two great grandfathers. I think
it was great. Like great.
Yeah.
For me, I think I agree with Rose. It's cultural differences. I will kind of disagree with you, Shay, when it comes, like, I truly do believe that you love who you love, But I think like even I'm not even gonna tie this to just white or Caucasian people, but I feel like when it comes to Caucasian people dating African Americans, it's a little bit of a sensitive issue because
Yeah.
there's so much history behind it. Like you kind
Yeah.
of got to tiptoe around everything because if the whoever the Caucasian party is does something that comes off a little like, wait, what do you mean by that? Or,
Yeah.
and then again, like Rose said, it wasn't too long ago that this was happening. So like
Yeah.
we still have grandparents that were part of slavery and come from
Mhm.
slavery. So they're looking at us like, what are you doing right now? Because that's not something that they're used to. You're like, it's like a sin almost, like
Yeah.
you're kind of your oh, what do you call them? I'm running out of
Like you're
Ancestors.
words.
shaming, you're
Your
shaming your
ancestors.
ancestors.
Right. So I do think that when it comes to Caucasians dating African Americans, there is that little sensitivity between it. But I mean, you can have white people and Asians too.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
mean, I don't know. I think with dating outside your culture, it is about the culture. Like you literally
Yeah.
have to learn someone's culture because anything you do can be offensive, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Oh, and then people like, oh my God. But this, I guess that also goes to if you love the person you love and y'all love each other, what other people say shouldn't even matter. So,
Hmm.
because
Right.
you in-laws that are gonna try to shame your significant other because they
Mhm.
don't like them specifically because they're not the same culture as them. Or, in some cultures, they hold people at a high standard. So if you come
Yeah.
into the relationship with children, they're already looking down on you, like you're not good enough for my son or daughter.
Hispanic
If
people.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you're divorced, some people look at you like, oh, you've been divorced before, like, oh, you're
Hispanic
damaged
people.
Right.
goods.
You're tainted goods. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, true enough, love who you love, but dating outside your culture takes a lot of work. Like you can't come in there, it's not for the weak
Yeah.
because you are going to be challenged, especially like when if y'all get married, if y'all decide to have a wedding and people are
What
like,
religion
oh,
is the baby gonna be? Is it gonna be Jewish? Is it gonna be Catholic? Is it gonna be Christian? Is it gonna be
Yeah.
Baptist?
right.
I'm not
Because
muted.
even within your own race, because I'm thinking about it right now, and even within your own race, like I'm Hispanic, my wife is Hispanic, but I'm Central American, and my family is Salvadorian. I was raised very different than her Mexican people. She's Mexican American. She was raised by a mother that believes firmly that the woman should be at home cleaning and doing this stuff, and the man is the one that you cater to. So just thinking about that, it's like even within your own race, it's cultural. It really is culture because I grew up differently than she did. I grew up seeing my aunts, my mom, everybody work. I grew up with working women that always had the lead in everything. And so even within your own race, it can be hard because then you go into religion, like Shay said, like her family was Catholic. My family was not Catholic. So
Hmm.
it's gonna be like, are you going to adapt to your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or are they gonna adapt to you? And are they willing to, like Steph said, like you have to love each other, or you have to be willing to commit to saying, I'm gonna adapt to your culture, or you're gonna adapt to me, or we're gonna blend it together
Yeah.
to kind of, do both of our things. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy because even within your own race, now that I think of it, sometimes it's different.
Yeah, because even like from a religious standpoint, you could have majority of black people either Christian or Baptist. It's
Mm,
but then you also have the part that is Muslim, and you have some Muslim
mm,
African American people. And I remember watching a special on Netflix with one of the Wayans brothers, and he was talking about the hardest thing for him was to realize that his mom loved a man who she had no commonality with, and the main thing was
mm,
like he was a Muslim. So her favorite things to do was celebrate holidays. He didn't celebrate not their holiday. And she loved holidays.
mm,
So it's like she married a man, had kids with a man that when it came down to something that was really important to her, it really broke her really on the inside because she couldn't really share it with.
mm.
So you can still be black and have those differences just due to
Yeah,
religious purposes as well.
yeah.
Yeah. But also we say, because the question was, where there's an
Yeah.
issue with dating outside. So, of course, when you start dating, you don't know for sure if, when you date people, you're testing. It's a test. Like, what are we doing here? And at that point, especially when you come, you're from different races,
Mm-hmm.
you should ask those questions, like where, what practices do you have in your family? If we were to have kids, not saying we will, but if we were, would you expect me to follow your religion or my religion? Because don't start making those decisions once you're married, and then y'all both over there mad because he want to baptize the kid and this one don't believe in baptizing the kid.
Yeah.
And now y'all about to get a divorce because
Yeah.
y'all don't know where the kids baptized at.
Oh.
So those are definitely things that people should ask themselves before they go in too deep. And that's what honestly, even dating, like Shay said, dating inside your race. Like people are raised differently. But when it comes to a culture, make sure you are willing to learn it and willing to compromise. That's another thing. Compromise.
Yeah.
Like you have to learn to compromise and respect and say, okay, well, because some people, that's another thing. Speaking on religion, and culture, some people would sit there and be like, oh, well, in my culture, this is and the other, and this is what we do. And I'm like looking at you like, we've been dating X amount of time. And how many times I've seen you go to church?
None. But you want the baby baptized through the Catholic Church, and you want them to have a Holy Communion, and you want them to have all this other stuff. You're like, what? Wait, you see you do communion?
Yes.
I ain't never seen you do no Hail Marys.
Don't even know how to pray.
Like, it even make no sense, So
I will say I was surprised though with my grandma, because I think when she found out I was dating a Caucasian guy, she was like, I'm afraid. And I think she was one of the ones who I was afraid to tell because of the history and the past between Black people and in slavery, basically. And she was actually very supportive of it. Now, her mom probably wouldn't have been as supportive of it, but rest her soul, she's not here to fight me on that. But I feel like if she was here, he probably would have been all kinds of SOBs, and she probably wouldn't want me in her house. She wouldn't want him in her house. But it's nice to know that I do have an open family, at least for the thought of it.
That's true. Sometimes family does become that ground where you can't, if your family you can love each other a lot, but if your family keeps saying nope, 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 and doesn't make that person feel like they're part of the family, that can also be a complication. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, look at the Prince. What's his wife's name? I can't remember.
Is it Henry, Harry, Prince Harry, and Meghan?
Oh,
No, it's not
Harry and
Meghan.
Markle.
Yes,
her name is Meghan.
Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I hadn't seen them on the news lately, so that's why I forgot their name. Because for a minute they were all over the news. But that's a perfect. Yeah, they still together.
Apparently, it was for real.
If you notice, his family, some of his family members they were not approving to her, and they tried everything to kind of split them apart. And they made little comments about the baby, but they stuck together. He left
the crown
everything
for her
with her, and that's
what
I
want that shit anyway.
If that doesn't tell her she loves him, he loves her, I don't know what will.
Yeah,
because when I saw those videos, that show, I didn't believe how actually true it was, like how they treated the outside people that wasn't a part of the crown. I didn't realize it until I saw their relationship on real. I'm like, oh, like they really don't.
Yep. But that's a perfect example of dating culture and some of the issues that you would face. But he wrote for his wife and she wrote for him, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. Are we gonna ride for each other, or are you gonna your family or your culture or whatever, And I'm pretty sure there's some things he still practices that are a part of his culture. I'm sure he didn't leave. He left his family because they were toxic.
Yeah.
Period.
All right. Period. And on that note, let's see. So, do different races have different views on financial responsibility in the household? So, to think so, but then I'm also not involved 100% in all the other races and all the other like ethnicities and stuff. But I mean, I feel like in certain cultures, they do know what their responsibility is. Like I don't think in Dubai you got those type of men telling their women to work. I think they know what they were supposed to do, and the women know their roles, and they know they ain't about to have no woman out there working and doing all this stuff. She's gonna be at home, and it's like I don't think that they have to tell their husbands, "Oh, you should pay 100% of the bills and be financially responsible for the taking care of the household." I think they kind of just know what their roles are. But I feel like in the African American culture, it's like if women expect a certain level from a man, it's like, "Oh, you are a gold digger, or you just want them for their money, or why would you bring it to the table? Like, bring everything I'm supposed to bring." But that's just my perspective.
I think yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it's a
Exactly.
cultural thing. I think it's still a cultural thing because historically, Hispanic men are expected to take care of the household. Historically, not everybody does that. We are
Exactly.
in a
Yeah.
brand new generation where women empowerment, it's let's split half of the bills. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I think it's really going to be on how that person grew up
Yeah.
and how their new boyfriend, girlfriend grew up. And when they talk about finances, are they willing to split? Or do they agree that she's going to take care of the household and he's going to take care of the bills?
Yeah.
I think it's really a communication thing. It's like, and honestly, I think that's something you could kind of tell when you start dating someone. I think it is a talk that kind of comes up and you start seeing, is this a person that's always willing to pay the check for me? Or is this a person that's like, I'll pay this time, you pay next time? And I think that would kind of tell me, is this a 50-50 person? Or is this a person that's going to be like all bills in?
Yeah.
Again, it depends on how they
And
grew up,
you
how
can see
woke
that in
they
your
are.
friends too. You can see which friends gonna do 50-50 and which is gonna be trying to milk you. But
Not milk
that's
you.
hey, you got some friends out here that will try to milk you. They'll be like, "Oh, she gonna pick up the tab." Until you leave
Mhm.
their asses at the bar.
And the show to their waitress, "Can you bring me my card at the bill? Let me see before we charge my card like they did what's his name?
Huh?
The last place we went
What?
to.
The who we went to?
The last place we went to, what was it? Nomad. So when
Oh,
they bring you the little machine and she tell you this is what you paying for and this is your part, that's what we doing. Y'all not putting them in my bills.
That, I mean, it's different with friends. It depends on what kind of friends I'm out with. I have the type of friends, like Steph said, that I know I'm going to end up paying for. It's like I already know if I tell them, let's go have lunch, I'm going to end up paying for.
Really?
Yeah, I have some friends that are like that. I have
You
some
end up paying for it?
Yeah, I have some friends like that. And then I have some friends
Andy.
that I already know where it's like you're paying for your portion, I'm paying for my portion, and we all each pay for our own little portion. And that's
Yeah.
okay. It's like it's different people are different ways.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think with the people that we split bills, we're very honest about the fact that, hey, we're gonna split our bills, you pay for your portion. And if I end up paying or if one of them ends up paying, we're like, hey, next time we go out, I'll take the tab. So it's like if you
Yeah.
pay today,
Yeah.
I'll take the tab next time. And we just kind of all go through our little circle and we all end up paying kind of at
Yeah.
one meal or something. But yeah, I do have some friends that already know, and they're actually friends with my wife as well. We already know, like we tell them to go out, we're paying for dinner. We already know they're not picking up that bill. They're not even going to glance at it. So,
Where you go?
yeah, but it's more, I
Yeah, but
think for those friends, it's more of like an experience that you're having with them. It's not like, hey,
Yeah.
it's just, it's old friends that we've had forever. And it's like, we already know what the deal is with them.
but
So,
you see how you said like you know which friends when you go out are you
hmm
expected to pay the tab, and it's the same thing in
yeah.
relationships. Like when you
hmm
start dating people, you know if he gonna want to split the bill, and if he want to split the bill, that means that's likely how it's gonna be when y'all
Get married.
get more. Yeah. But to answer the question, my outlook on that is I don't think it's a cultural thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a generational thing. Even in the Black community back in the days, the male always was the head of the household, and they went out to work while the woman stayed at home, cleaned the house, and had all these expectations or whatever. But as we progressed in life, in advance, the woman started taking more of a independent role, and we started getting jobs and stuff. And I think that kind of took away from the responsibility of a man. But I also think that, like Rose said earlier, it's your upbringing. And it's crazy because I was talking to someone about this earlier, and you have to ask yourself, a lot of people, especially in the Black community, are raised in broken households. And typically it's the male that is absent. So if you look at a man raised in a female household where the female is the head of the household, then that male never had anyone to look up to say, oh, this is what I saw growing up. So therefore, that's what I'm going to do. And I noticed that a lot. I'm not just making this up. I actually started doing some
true.
research.
I understand that too. I've definitely noticed that too. Yeah.
Yes. Like I noticed that a lot of males who had absent fathers tend to feel that 50-50 thing, or the, I don't have to take care of you type of perspective.
And it's because my mama did it. My mama did it. Your mama didn't have a choice.
Yes.
Your mama probably wanted to be with your daddy. Right. And for some reason it didn't work out for whatever reason. Now she has you, and now she knows what her job is, and she stepped to the plate to take care of you. That doesn't mean she wanted to struggle and do it all on her own.
Right. That's true. But just to be devil's advocate,
I like
back when our grandfathers and our dads were taking care of our moms, it wasn't as expensive as it's now. A man really cannot, if I'm thinking about my expenses alone, it's a man they cannot possibly take care of a full household, kids, and take care of a woman's full needs when it comes to
material things. And that's exactly why people need to be financially stable with a career, with a job, with that's really the thought process, that you should have all these things established prior to being married, prior to bringing in kids in the world. But the problem is things are so reversed. So of course you getting a man who ain't got no real job, he ain't got no real career, he's just starting out in life. He done messed around and got somebody pregnant. Now all of a sudden, like, you want to be with him, and then they having problems because it's so easy to leave because you're not married. Well, now I'm out the door. Now all of a sudden your mama, who is probably a teenage mom or a young adult mom, trying to finish school, trying to do all these things, or we don't progress, because at the end of the day, I feel like you're determined. Once you have a child, it's on go. But for a man, sometimes they don't have that motivation to kind of like push them forward unless they really want to. There's a lot of people that stay stuck in wherever they're at. And I think that's the reason why a lot of men can't take care of the household, because they just, not that they're limited, I don't think they use the resources that the women use as well to kind of progress in a sense. And then it's just about like staying, like if you get a job, stay at that job. I know so many people quit jobs. And when you quit a job, you're not going to something that's paying you better. You're not going to something that's going to really benefit you. Just, I don't want to be here, so I'm going to the next place. And wonder why y'all can't take care of nothing. But it's some people who can, because they got the education, they got a good job, but that's not everybody, unfortunately.
So this is where I wish we had a guy, because I really think I would really definitely want to see how they feel about this.
Okay. So this is my perspective to your comment, Rose. You also have men who can afford to take care of women.
Yeah.
And they want to split the bills 50-50.
That's true.
Like, they
because he got money. She a gold digger. She just want to be with him for his money.
Yeah.
And you want to know that she really does.
And she can have a job. She can have a job and be good, but she makes a lot less than him. And he feels like, oh, well, that's your money. This is my money. And you pay the light bill, and you pay the gas bill, and I'll pay the rent. And we're out here just 50-50, And so that's why I said I think it's more of a upbringing and a generational thing. Yeah. Because you got men out here that make bank, and they women out here I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing to me. I don't know.
And then you got some men who just like, yeah, I'll do what I need to do. I know my role. Like, so it's definitely like, it varies. So it's not like, sure, Black culture just don't believe in taking care of their woman.
Right.
I believe it's certain men who do 100%. It's certain men who do 50-50, and it's certain men who do nothing at all.
That's true.
Whichever one you about those three categories.
No, but that's for real. You got some men out here that want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm looking for a woman to take care of me. Like, what?
And there's some women out there that will take care of men. So
that's where
like,
some of
that's
us got to be careful,
crazy.
because I saw on the podcast they were saying how women are the new breadwinners. Like, there are men out here ready to trap a woman just because of what all she got going on, how good she looks, how she living, how she presents herself. Now you want to get her knocked up, and just to say, well,
but
she
I
got a
think that's
fancy baby
also the
mama or
fault of those
something. And
women that kept saying women empowerment and women movement and feminist, all the way feminist. Like,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, it's okay to be independent. It's okay for you to have your own thing, but at the end of the day, it's not bad for you to depend on your spouse. It's not bad for your spouse to want to take care of you. So I kind of blame that on feminism and the feminist movement.
Yeah.
Because I think it it was taken way to the left. It's like, yeah, we're out here saying we can be bosses in the workforce and we can do the same thing men can, but then they come back to, well, my man isn't taking care of me. I mean, you just said you were a boss bitch. Be a boss bitch and pay your bills.
Yeah. I know I hear a lot about, well, y'all wanted equality, right? Equality is still the bills 50-50.
That's true.
Equality is this and is that. I'm like, look, yes, I want equality, but I still want to be feminine in my house. And I
I
still
just
want
want
to,
equality in the workplace.
exactly, I don't want to be paid less for doing the same work that you do.
That's
I
it.
want to be
First of
paid
all, I
less for
don't even want to
doing
be in the
better work than you.
workforce. So
Just like that.
I'm just saying, like, I want
Myself,
equality when it comes to pay.
in my
I want
household,
respect, like equal respect.
but I think that's
Like I
why,
could
like
still
you
be.
said, it's conversations you have with your dating person. It's somebody
Yep.
before you even think about making it an official relationship. It's things you got to talk about because at the end of the
yeah,
day, even though people are like, oh, it's not a big, that's not a biggie. It will be a biggie later on in life if you guys are not agreeing on who's going to pay for the
Mhm.
apple.
yeah, yeah. I definitely
Yep.
would agree with the whole generational part of it too, because, and I think that's kind of where I got my mind framed up. Because, granted, sure, I grew up in a single mom household. Like, she had boyfriends and stuff, but it was really her doing the majority of the work when it came to bills, when it came to the household, all that stuff. So, but me growing up, I grew up seeing my grandpa take care of my grandma. My grandma never had a job. She never had to drive herself around. And then, although my dad didn't live with me because obviously my mom didn't work out, but his wife don't work. So in my head, just growing up, even though they wasn't in my direct household, these are people that I grew up seeing live a certain way, and just, oh, that's the man, this is the woman, this is what the man, this is what the woman do. And then just getting older, and I'm like, well, so we're not doing that. So I grew up thinking that that's how things were going to go, but then just growing up and dating in this dating pool in this world, and just finding out that just men don't want to do that sometimes. Like, they're not your dad, they're not your grandpa, you know. So it's having to
So
change
and
my mindset to adjust to the new generation thinking of men. Like, those men from the past are like, I'm not doing one. I'm not my dad's wife. Like, I'm not gonna stay at home and just do nothing or just take care of the house. Like, I have to do something else. But it's nice to know that
Mhm.
my partner would like to do those things for me.
and honestly, I mean, there's women out there that probably do want to take care of a man.
Mhm.
So I guess it goes back to when you're dating, if you have to put them to that test. Okay, are they
Yeah.
the person? If you don't like somebody that like splitting bills 50-50, and you see them splitting bills 50-50 all the time, and you bring it up and they, just not in agreement with it, then maybe you should chunk the deuces or fall in line
Mhm.
and say, okay, well, we splitting stuff 50-50.
Yeah.
Because everybody, like you said, we all have different upbringings, we all have different cultures, different everything, and you just got
Mm.
to find the person that you're equally yoked with
Yeah.
and make it work, because
Yeah. That's true.
people out here
You
be
can't.
people sorry, people be out here looking for the wrong things in marriage. Sorry.
I agree.
They be looking for the wrong things in marriage, and like the things that you should be looking for, it's like, okay, what is their culture like? What is their
Mhm.
family like? Do they have, were they brought up in a good family? Do they know what it is to be,
Yeah.
do they have a mom and a dad? What is their
Their
relationship with their mom?
support system, like you said last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that is a big, big, big one. Like, what is their support system like? Because that would tell you what this person went through as a child and what type of trauma they're carrying within themselves. And I'm not saying don't date nobody with trauma. Just know that if you are going to date somebody with that type of trauma, it's going to be a little bit harder to get through to them. So you got to ask yourself if you up for the challenge.
Yeah.
But we're getting
Is it worth it? Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, next and final question. Why is it a negative stigma with Black women or men dating Caucasian men or women? I think we kind of already addressed that.
I'm going to say one more thing about that.
Go ahead.
One more thing, even though we did already address it. But, and this may not be so much with Caucasian men and women, because I feel like Caucasian men actually treat their women good from my perspective, which may be why a lot of Black women go the Caucasian way, because some of our Black men, because of their upbringing, don't know how to treat, their woman. So the Caucasian men show them that lifestyle that they want. Yeah. But, and I'm not saying this because I don't like Black women dating white women. I don't give a damn who you date. But one thing that we are going to
to each their own.
Like, I'm sorry, I read the damn thing on the thing, so that's why I said that. Black men dating white women. Because what I've noticed and what we've seen in the media is white women know the power that they hold over the Black man, because they know that the minute they scream help, the Black man is going to be the one that's going to be blamed. And they hold that over them. Like, oh, and I've seen this so many times. I'm not just talking about what I see in the media. It's the, I'll ruin your life. I'll do this. I'll do that. And they sitting up here just like beating on this Black man, knowing that they have that power over and of ruining their life. And all they have to do is say, oh, he hit me. Oh, he did this. Because the Black man has always been the lesser of all, of every culture. So I've seen so many. Listen, I mean, if they find them a good white woman, hey, kudos to them. But they take a big risk. How I'm gonna put it. Black men take a big risk dating white women.
I know that. And if you still want to go do it, then the risk is all yours. Just know, don't be talking about me having your back when she tried to sit your ass to jail. Because at the end of the day, you made your choice. You know who the justice system may take favor over. At the end of the day, don't be looking for this to save you. If you go that way, stay that way. Understand what comes there. And I guess the same thing for even Black women too. Because I mean, for us, even if you do date and you're a woman, you date a Caucasian man, a married Caucasian man, I'm pretty sure if he said you put a knife on him, they're gonna take his side too. Even with him being the man, but because he's white, it's gonna make a difference.
Yeah. And that's one. I mean, I'm gonna say that too. It's not. I mean, there's Black women that do that to Black men too. But when it comes to the law, when they see a white woman and a Black man, that looks different than two Black parties fighting each other.
Yeah.
To them, it's just like, oh, it's just a bunch of niggas fighting, But when it's a white woman, and a Black man, it's like, oh my God, it's this big Black man fighting this innocent white woman.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the other way around. She beating on him.
Historically, it has always been the colored man that's been chosen to be blamed. Even when it was, man, I can't remember the name of this guy, the guy that was lynched. But what is his name? And they blamed him. They blamed him of raping this white lady. At the end, it wasn't even him. It was some white dude, her own race, that did it. But he was dragged and lynched, and they did all this. And it's always like, it's the big, scary Black man.
Yeah.
And she lied about it, knowing damn well it wasn't him. And she just thought, oh, well, he's the one that did it. He went through all this trauma and death because she decided to blame him. So I think even going back historically, it's like they've been the scapegoat for everything. It's colored men have always been the scapegoats. So in the minds of Caucasian people, they're always going to see the women as the victim. White women are always going to be the victim regardless of what they're doing. So I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just, again, seeing the way they grew up, seeing history itself kind of just, they say history does repeat itself. So it's like you already know it's gonna be Becky all the day. So
Yeah.
Becky with the good
yeah.
hair.
I just know
Mhm.
that, I see it on social media a lot. Like, and I guess that's why this question kind of came up, just because obviously, like, especially celebrities, one minute you're not a celebrity, you got your black girlfriend from college, from high school, y'all sweethearts. Now all of a sudden, you get your deal, you get your records, you sign your team, whoever you're gonna be with. And then next thing you know, you Kevin Hart a bitch. Like, now you got a brand new wife and she looks better than your past wife, and she's a model, or you got this white lady that you didn't have before, but you know she on there for your money, but you still like her anyway. And it's like, that
But
obviously
sometimes
happens.
is it really, so sometimes this is what I think about it. Is it really that they're going for the white girl because now
They are
I've got
upgrading.
money?
Yes, that's
Or
exactly what it
is
is.
it or is it really that at this point they're on the same financial level as the white girl and now they can actually date somebody on that level?
That's still upgrading. It's the same thing if you ask me. So you leaving the person who stood there for you, held you down, you had nothing, probably helped you noodles, helped you put a food on the table, and then you finally make it. Oh, because I got somebody financial on my level. I'm sorry, that's not you no more. Let me leave you. Like, you're not good
Oh
enough no
no.
more.
Oh
So it's the
no.
same thing in a sense. You still upgrading from what you had because you can now. Because if you didn't have no money, you wouldn't have that girl. You wouldn't
Well,
be,
money changes people, so they also change. So
yeah.
maybe day one girl is not what they need no more. They're not on
And
the same kind of
then
level.
And then it's so much like interracial like sites on Instagram, like profiles and stuff, and just the comments of people like, oh, I'm so tired of this interracial marriages. I'm so tired of this interracial, like, people legitimately hating on mixed race couples, and specifically the ones I see are black and white couples. They hate that shit. Some people don't, but you have a lot of people that spill a lot of hate in those comments when it comes to those type of relationships. And I hate to see it. Because to be honest, if a person makes you happy, do whoever you want to be with. That person, like you said, the Caucasian man might treat you better because he understands like certain things when it comes to a woman, or how to treat a woman, or whatever the case may be. If that's the person for you, it's the person for you. But I mean, I don't have no problem with it. Obviously, I dated somebody and I learned from that, and I'll be open to it again, to be honest, because there are some benefits if that happens to happen. But if it
You
doesn't
said some
happen to happen, it's okay. But
benefits.
I'm just saying, like, now that I've been there, I'm not
Wait, what?
got to
What
it.
are the benefits of now I want to
Yeah.
know.
Benefits, but like you said, you black women date white men because of certain reasons, and it's not because of monetary value. I didn't know he had money, or a mom who had money, but it's just like him taking me out, him wanting to pay for everything, him knowing that he wants to get married. I ain't gonna go too deep into
Hoarding.
it, but him wanting he wants to get married, or,
Courting.
yeah, and just even
Okay.
we even spoke about bills and stuff. He was like, you can move into my house, I'll pay the rent, and you can just pay like for food and stuff, or the lights. Like, he wasn't even tripping about it. Like,
You cut off a little, so I couldn't hear that last part.
I was just like, that's cool. I'll pay the light bill. That's fine. But that's what I mean by like benefits. There's certain things that
Okay.
in that relationship I didn't have to ask or explain. It was just already clear. And I think because they're more emotional too. They're more tuned in with their emotions. At least the one I dated, he was very in tune with his
That's
emotions.
true. That's true. Some people are
So
more in tune with their emotions.
it's easier to communicate with people like
But
that and
it
talk
boils
about
down,
things.
it still boils down to upbringing because again,
True.
a lot of Caucasian people grow up in a two-parent household, so they see that, I read this thing where they
Yeah,
say like children start learning things at a very early age. So what they
definitely.
see, they're going to imitate.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. They're imitating. And, if you think about it, like men, our black men, they see, people calling black women bitches and hoes and all of this stuff. So they
Yeah.
imitate that as they get older. And that's exactly what it is. The Caucasian, I mean, I've never seen a lot of Caucasian men call their
That's what I was
wives
gonna
bitches
say.
and
There's some Caucasian people that grew up in the hood too, because I remember I had one of my
and
best
you do
friends in
have
middle
those
school was
hood ones.
Caucasian, and she was hood.
The
She
niggas,
And
the
those
she didn't play with
niggas.
no one.
But if you look at the ratio of black men in the hood and white men in the hood, it's a lot more black men in the hood. So you are going to have your little sprinkles of white men that are going to be hood and
Your
just be like,
sprinkles.
yeah. But those are not the ones you're going to see white women dating. I can guarantee you
That's
that.
true.
They want an authentic Caucasian man.
Not authentic.
I mean, because if I'm gonna deal with the bullshit, I might as well go black. I'll stay black. So I'm
No.
coming over here, like you said, to upgrade. I,
I'm like that funny one. You goddamn.
Mm-mm.
but it's really sad, and I really hope that now that mental health is like a thing now, like people are actually acknowledging it and not ignoring it. I think hopefully that helps a lot of our black men, because I think that's all it is. It's just generational trauma
Yeah.
that has followed from. I mean, think about it. During slavery, what did they do? They broke black families apart. They would take the
Mhm.
husband and go sell them, and so it's something that just unfortunately it started from Caucasians. And
Yeah.
that's why I said, I'm like, that's why it's a stick. Date who you want to date, but there's always gonna be that little elephant in the room that's gonna be there.
I
And
think
it's
with
gonna be like,
any,
well, you
I think white people are just they're damned, to be honest, when it comes to dating people out of their culture. You know why? Because they've always been that race that takes over everything. Even Hispanic culture, like it was the white
Mhm.
people that took over, the Spaniards
They
that
took
took over Mexico.
Mexico.
So
Yeah.
anytime that you think about it, even with Hispanic people, they'll be like, "Why are you dating that white boy?" What the fuck? Like they'll just be like, "Y este güero
Because I
tiene
love
chingados."
him.
I mean, but Hispanic, I don't know, but the Hispanic family I grew up in is like, the tias are gonna say something on the side, the grandma's
Oh,
gonna
they
make a
are.
little remark,
They gonna
um,
stare at them like,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna ask him if he speaks Spanish, and if you don't speak Spanish, why haven't you learned how
oh,
to speak Spanish in 2 days that you've been dating my child?
And don't let him try to be funny and be like, I know que quiero Taco Bell.
They
and
Don't be
just
like,
shake their
that's where
heads
the
and walk
culture
away.
lines. That's where the culture lines cross, and it's like, oh, hold up.
you
The
think
fuck you
you're
talking about
funny.
Taco
You
Bell?
think
Like
you think
you
you're
think we look
funny.
like Chihuahuas or what the fuck you see?
Well, yeah, now we got a problem. Now you about to get jumped. Yeah, like now just exit
I
left.
think white people don't have it easy when it comes to dating out of their culture either. But
No, mm-mm.
historically, it was their grandparents' fault. So they need to blame their
Yeah,
grandparents.
facts. And they're just reaping the benefits of what their grandparents did.
Yep.
And unfortunately, and the black community is too. We're reaping.
Yep.
I mean, look at us. We're all discombobulated. I mean, true enough, I feel like we've
Discombobulated.
advanced. We are. I mean, I love to see black families. I'm not gonna lie. And it's not because I'm racist or anything, and I don't like to
Uh-huh.
see white people with black people, but I love to see black families together
Mm-hmm.
because
Functional,
it shows that,
functional. I'm gonna say
yes,
functional because
functional.
some
That
families be
part, that
together,
part.
but they be dysfunctional. You're like, they don't need to be
Functional black
together.
families. Like black men raising their sons. Like
Yeah.
at one point, like it wasn't cool to raise your son or even talk to your kids
Man,
as the man.
I
And now
definitely
you
know
see,
finding out
like,
that maybe raising their sons, I'd be like, oh, raising their kids in jail.
yes. Who was
They're
that?
becoming more
Jacquees. They was just
incorporated.
they were just talking about Jacquees because he had his baby his baby I think was a preemie, and he
Oh,
had him. He was holding him. They was having what is that called?
bonding
Damn, I want to
time.
say
Yeah.
not chest to chest. I forgot what the shit's called. I don't know.
I think it's
But
called
anyways,
skin to
bonding. They
skin.
had
Yeah, I
a
think it's
Skin to
skin to
skin.
skin
skin to skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm talking about
bond
chest to chest. But yeah,
You was
skin to
close.
skin. And everybody was talking about him. They were like, he looked like he had the baby and this, and the other. And his girl got on there and defended him. She was like, he's just a supportive father who has
Yeah.
been up all night after I just had this baby, been changing diapers, been doing this.
Mhm.
It was once upon a time, dads weren't even touching the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a beautiful thing that, we're coming out of that stigma of,
Yeah.
that we were put in. So I
Yeah.
like that. I like because with I would say with Hispanic families, like I feel like Hispanic families, we have that culture where we believe the man and the woman, y'all get married, y'all have the kids, y'all raise the kids together. Now I know some Hispanic men don't play with their kids. We still got to work on that. They be like, you go play with, don't come play with me.
You fuck with them kids. You fuck with your kids.
Yeah, but I mean, at least they have that dynamic that I'm the man.
They're not even their kids. They be like, them kids. They don't say my kids. They be like, them kids. Your kids.
Yeah.
Like they didn't make them.
Yeah.
So I love evolving as a culture.
Yeah.
Both Hispanics, minorities, period. You know, I feel like we're evolving as a culture. We've come a long way. Definitely. Let's just say that.
I agree.
Ooh, this is a little bit off topic real quick and we can close if you need to. But, you do need to. Actually, never mind. I ain't got to talk about it. We can go on and close. Some of the time I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, I was just going to say, I want us to get out of this making babies out of wedlock era. Because I feel like...
Stop.
Get that we want to have children, but it's so many kids being born into one-parent households. And, I obviously didn't want that for myself, but it happened. Rose, I'm pretty sure you don't want that for yourself, but then it happened. Steph, you don't want that for yourself, but then it happened. And we all found partners and got married. But it has to be a problem for the child, too, to know, like, your parents aren't together and then to see your parents with somebody else. And then just knowing, I'm seeing so many single mom maternity shoot pictures, and I'm like, where's your dad? Like, I'm tired of seeing people get pregnant. You 9 months pregnant now, so you announcing that you and your partner ain't together no more. Like, what's going on?
I don't know, because I've seen some single moms, and they choose to be single moms. They actually went through the whole pregnancy knowing that they did not want a man in their lives. Sperm got injected. That's how they made their baby. They had a donor, and their baby is a product of the donor.
Definitely a thing now.
Now that's different. I understand that. I get that. Because sometimes you get tired of waiting for the right person to come along for something that you really, really want. And
women are having babies older now too.
Financially, you can do it and got the health to do it, then go ahead. But it's the ones that's just creating them just for the fun of it because I really like him. We had a good night that night.
No, I think they're just having sex.
Yeah, I don't think it's for the fun of it.
People just like that. And I was going to say that. I was going to say that, like, the single parent generation is not going to go away. People love, like, they like having, and now that they have banned, abortions and stuff, it's going to be more common.
I was just going to say that, and I was like, that's going to take us into another hour of speaking about abortion and abortion rights.
Yeah.
What, Jay?
Whoa.
Yeah. What?
Okay, I'm sorry. I just got to say this. B. King died. Y'all know who B. King is? 12 God.
B.E. King?
B. King. 12 God. He's a rapper. B. King. With the K-I-N-G.
He died?
King. Yeah. My best friend just texted me and told me he died.
What?
I said you fucking lying. So the first thing I did was go to Instagram. It's the first thing I see.
He was 39?
Naturally, or
this was Mr. When I was at Prairie View, he was at Prairie View turning us up. He is a PB legend.
So we want to thank you for tuning into our podcast. Again, if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel, like, and comment. We love feedback. While you're at it, follow us on all streaming platforms. And you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Go like, DM us. Also, if you have a topic that you would like for us to discuss, or if you'd like to be a guest on our podcast, feel free to email us. Again, thank you, and see you next week for your weekly scoop serving. Peace.
Bye.